All right, hello wine-drinking people, fresh back from my spring break vacation, and this is our first wine tasting. We don't waste any time here. You know, I'm right back and hit the ground running, right back to work. And vintage Spain was the subject of study this evening, and a taste that we've added to the calendar as an annual event because, man, I'm just blown away by how well these wines age, even before there was much incentive to make wine. You know, when this was a communist country, when Franco ran it in the 70s, you know, there wasn't any wines being brought into Spain. So there wasn't any reason for them to really make great wines, other than the fact that they were inspired to do so. And Rioja, of course, the greatest wine region in Spain for a long, long time. And the wines of Rioja, the old ones, this is just amazing how well Tempranillo will age. And some of these old wineries that we feature this evening, well, most people have never heard of them. I couldn't find any information on the internet. I don't know if they still exist. You know, Fuenmayor, the first wine, which that's the name of a city or a village in Rioja. It's also the name of a bodega. But this is actually, Aje is the name of the bodega here, and it's from Fuenmayor, Rioja. It's a Grand Reserve, a 1959, which you see all the old dogs over here on the left and the new dogs over here on the right. And these wines brought in through the Rare Wine Company, and Manny Burke, one of the specialists in old Rioja. And all of these wines, the old dogs, the 59, the 64, and the 70, outstanding. Just amazing how fresh. You know, Tempranillo tends to be a little light in color, and people just mistake light-colored wines for wines that will not age, but they have got great acidity. We're mostly talking about the Tempranillo varietal here, but they do blend in Rioja. Traditional blend would be like 85% Tempranillo, 5% Mezuelo, 10% Graciano, something like that. And some of them used to use white grapes, also Viura. And, well, we don't have the exact, you know, to blend on these first two wines, but, you know, we could guess it was something similar to that probably. And 59 is a classic old vintage from Rioja. This wine's still very fresh. Light red berry fruit on the nose, notes of smoked meats. You get an array of dried herbs and flowers, tobacco, spice, really lovely complexity in the bouquet here. And opening up even on the second day, noticing some of that sweetness, the coconut and the dill that you get in these wines when they're very young. Very complex wine on the palate. This wine has got smooth, silky tannins, a light kind of metallic mineral note showing on the finish, but very fresh. Layers of that tangy red berry fruit still, and wonderful acidity. This wine got 3 votes for first place and 5 votes for second, making it the most popular wine of the night. Maybe not the wine of the night, but the most popular wine, the most voted for wine. Most excellent juice, the 1959 Rioja Gran Reserva Aje from Fuenmayor. All right, the Gomez Cruzado Honorable Rioja Gran Reserva up next. And I don't know how you get the title of being an Honorable Gran Reserva, but the Grand Reserva means aged 2 years in oak and 3 years in the bottle before release. So these wines do see American oak, the old ones, not until we get to the Artadis and the wines of the Priorat that we see any French oak come into the picture here. And in the 60s, this winery had a reputation of being, well, the biggest part of its reputation was it was right across the street from Lopez de Heredia, a very famous winery in Rioja. But this wine was still very good, you know. 64, still showing a little bit of age to it. It is old after all. And some tangy, dried red strawberry, red berry fruit, old leather, toffee notes on the nose, and dried flowers, a bit of that coconut that you notice in sweet dill. And a little bit of oxidization showing up in this wine after it's been open for a while, though. Some lovely, tangy red berry fruit still hanging in there on the palate. Silky, smooth, velvety tannins, fresh plowed earth, notes of dried meat, tobacco, spice, and barnyardy notes with tangy acidity. Very nicely balanced. Hey, this only got 1 vote for second place, so not the dog in the bunch. And the winner this evening was the Cune Imperial, the Company de Viticultura de Norte España, which this is the first wine ever to get the top wine, coveted top wine spot in the Wine Spectator's Top 100 just for this last year, the 2004 version of this wine. Well, this is the 1970, and this wine had a good amount of that dried meat, that exotic spice box, and light smoke character to the nose, and it just seemed to gain intensity as this wine opened up. The red cherry liqueur and wild strawberry fruit just coming out, and lovely richness on the palate, even on the second day. Wonderful smooth and silky texture. Layers of exotic spice, coconut, and toffee notes layered into this spicy, tangy finish. This wine was the wine of the night on the scorecards because it received 6 votes for first place, 1 vote for second place. Not the most voted for wine like the 59, but still an overwhelming amount of votes for first place among 9 tasters. Anyways, the Bodegas Riojanas Monte Real Reserva. This wine, I don't want to say the dog of the wine. tasting because it didn't get any votes for first or second place, but I thought a very good bottle of wine, a great producer, an array of kind of dried flowers, herbs, and dried tobacco, spice, smoke, and a nice amount of that red berry fruit, notes of coconut and toffee, really soft and smooth on the palate, though this wine definitely seemed like it had lovely evolution here. Strawberry and cherry fruit, array of smoke and exotic spices, earth, tongue-tingly acidity on the finish. Still quite fresh and balanced, though, and an excellent bottle of wine. This 87 marketed Murrieta Gran Reserva Castillo guy. This wine, man, one of the longest lived Riojas I've ever had is the 1942 vintage of this wine, and you know, this wine, mixed reviews on Cellar Tracker. I thought, you know, after it opened up, this wine, one of the contenders for wine of the night for me. It needed a lot of time. Really spiced bouquet, sweet tobacco, toffee, vanilla, coconut, sweet cherry liqueur-like fruit. Really well-endowed bouquet, but needed more time to open up here. Sweet and tangy red cherry fruit on the tongue with some dry tannins coming through on the finish. A good amount of that vanilla and dill note also showing through the red berry fruit, caramel, toffee, coffee notes also, mocha. Really complex finish after this wine opened up. Most excellent juice. All right, and then the Young Dogs, the new breed of Rioja, Artadi, which none of these wines have got the Reserva, the Crianza, the Gran Reserva wines that they used to label Spain in the old days. El Pison is one of the cult wines of Spain today. Only 450 cases. Well, that's all about all they make of the Lermita and of the Clos Erasmus as well. And this wine is a single vineyard planted on pure limestone in 1945, and it's aged for 2 years in 100% new French oak cask. Very tight and backward, even though it's 1995 and it's almost 20 years old now. This wine really needed a lot of time to open up. Much better on the second day. A lot of wild strawberry jam-like fruit, exotic spices, dark and rich, but still very youthful here on the first day. None of these wines got picked for wine of the night, other than me. I picked the Lermita, of course, one of my favorite wines from Spain, but, you know, big and chewy still. This wine needs a lot of time, but it has a lot of everything. Very lovely balance here, an array of spice, earth, and that nuance from the nose coming through on the finish. Most excellent juice, the El Pison. The Lermita is killer and one of my favorite wines, a single vineyard wine, 100% Grenache today. Used to have some other varietals in the blend that were planted up there, but they grafted everything over. This is a very limited production wine, and Alvaro Palacios, one of the original four guys, along with Daphne Glorian from Clos Erasmus, along with Rene Barbier and some other guy. I don't know. Anyways, they're two of the four here, and these guys make incredible wines, and it's all about this terroir you get up there in the Piedmont, that liquoril, and then, of course, you get the lovely Garrigue kind of quality that you get out of the Southern Rhone. You get that lovely fresh flower and herbal nuance, and really lovely complexity. This wine received DOCG status, or DOC status, rather, I'm sorry, it's not Italy, in Spain, the only other one other than Rioja to have that in 2009. I think the Catalan government granted it in 2001, but just goes to show you Spain's still not a unified country today. And this wine's got a lot of youth in it still. Dark cherry, blackberry, liqueur-like fruit, an array of fresh flowers and herbs here, that crushed slate-like rock minerality, really big on the tongue. Still smooth, the tannins in it ripe, but showing some dryness on the end. This wine still needs a little bit of time. Still, you know, after a day, still pretty big, and a lot of that Priorat showing on the finish here, the dry flowers, herbs, and distinct minerality that is the Priorat. Killer juice. My pick for wine of the night, the 95 Alvaro Palacios Lermita, and the 99 Clos Erasmus taking up a close second to everything on the table. This wine's Grenache, Cabernet, Syrah, and 100% new French oak. Also, only 1 ton of fruit per acre here. Very concentrated and rich. This wine's still quite large in size, even though 99 not considered a great vintage. Well, only got 93 points. I don't know if that doesn't mean it's a great vintage, but this wine scored 100 points on several occasions, 99 points, 98 points, always among one of the top scoring wines of the Priorat with the Lermita. This wine showing black raspberry, that slate-like minerality, fruit, crushed rocks, dried flowers, very complex bouquet, opened up nicely, much quicker than the Lermita did, I thought, and that's why the group liked this wine, I think, better of the two, and still has some tannins, but lots of everything else here. Long layered finish, most excellent juice. That's what we had to drink in our vintage Spanish tasting. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.